Hi everyone. So today we're going to continue talking about cognitive distortions, and the second one in our 10-part series that I'll be discussing about today is called Personalization and Blame. So just as a refresher, cognitive distortions are unconscious ways that our minds convince us of something that may not be accurately or factually true. So these vague, sometimes invasive thoughts are usually used to reinforce negative thoughts, but usually they only provide us feeling bad about ourselves. So becoming mindful of common cognitive distortions will help you better understand yourself, other people, and help improve your decision making. So at one point, we've all placed blame on things that have gone wrong in our lives. So either we place that blame on ourselves or we place that blame on others. And many people who are struggling with anxiety or depression, they tend to be more susceptible to this type of negative thinking. So personalization is the belief that you are entirely to blame for something that even though you had zero or nothing to do with the result, in fact, the situation may not be connected to you in any way at all. In this situation, we blame ourselves for something that was caused by a complicated chain of events or that was otherwise completely outside of our control. So some people do the opposite. They blame other people or their circumstances for their problems, and they overlook ways that they might be contributing to the problem. Blame typically does not work well because other people will disapprove being scapegoated and they will just toss the blame right back. Okay? So behind both forms of this cognitive distortion lies the belief that if anything goes wrong, it must be somebody's mistake. Picture it like the game of hot potato. No one wants to get stuck with the blame. So while personalization and blame can fluctuate from situation to situation, it seems always involved in the negative thinking and often centers around negative self-talk. So some examples of personalization or blame can include like you're feeling you're to blame when you're hanging out with somebody and they're not having a good time. So an example of this could be that you're hosting a dinner party and a couple of your friends leave early. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking like, wow, I must have not entertained them enough if they left early. When in reality, that's not the case. Like maybe they weren't feeling well. Maybe they had to get up early the next morning. Maybe they were just tired. There could be multiple explanations for this scenario. Another example is that if that car had not cut me off, I would have been in a better mood. So that may not be the case either, right? So another one is feeling that others are blaming you for something over which you had little or no control over. So let's say you go to work, you say hi to your boss, they nod and not say anything back to you. So in your mind, you're thinking like, wow, they must be mad at me or something. When there are alternative explanations to this scenario, right? And you're worrying about him not liking you or being mad at you when you have no reason. There's no fact. There's no truth behind that feeling. Okay. So another one is feeling like you are deliberately omitted from a group. Okay. When you see others interacting together without you. So you're thinking like, why? Like, why am I being outed from this group and why am I not hanging out with them? Oh, they must be talking about me. And then those thoughts start escalating, right? Another one is your child comes home with a note from the teacher. Okay, so automatically you go like, man, I must be a bad parent if I'm getting a note from my child's teacher. Instead of trying to pinpoint the cause of the problem so that you can be helpful to your child, right? So there are so many examples of this, and I know that we've all been in those situations. So how do we stop personalizing? Okay, so to answer that question, countering cognitive distortions can be challenging, okay? So especially for those who are struggling with the effects of trauma. So the first step in these cases is to speak with a counselor. And then once you start speaking with a counselor about these, you start the process of healing, okay? So there's two things that you can do presently, however, that will help you begin to stop personalizing. And I'm going to go over those now. So the two things that you can do to work on countering personalization and blame is to check your control. Okay, so that's the first thing. When you feel yourself beginning to personalize a situation, ask yourself what you are in control of here. Okay, did you have control over all the factors that led to the outcome of you blaming yourself or others? Chances are good that you didn't. Okay, and your blame is being misplaced. So the second one is check your responsibility. When you begin placing blame on yourself for how you assume someone else is feeling, ask yourself, am I responsible for how they think or feel? Unless you did something specific to provoke a reaction, you have no responsibility or control regarding other people's thoughts or feelings. So some things that you can work on for personalization is seek counseling to talk it out, okay? Meditate, seek out mindfulness, because these three things can help you to stop blaming yourself, okay? Stop personalizing every situation. The main point is that we cannot read each other's minds, okay? And there's a strong tendency for people to personalize, especially when there is fear of criticism or rejection. So I think it's very important to keep in mind that we need to be mindful when we listen. And we need to listen carefully when we're discussing things with others, okay? Because not everything is about us. Not everything is about you. And keep in mind that other people's opinions are not facts. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and check in next week when I'll be discussing the third cognitive distortion, which is called emotional reasoning. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.